YouTube viewers, Rectangular back, this time with another review. I'm very excited to show the new figures from Japan. These are made by SH Figuarts. On the left we have Iron Man Mark VI from the Iron Man 2 movie, and from the same film we have the War Machine. And these are excellent figures that I was fortunate enough to get the pre-order for, and a couple of my friends in the community already have them. I know Boog Nice was the first to show them here in the States on YouTube, and I believe on Facebook as well, and my friend Randy has already done a review. I'm just going to try to go into a little bit more depth than Randy did. His reviews were good. I just want to get into a little bit more of the details that he went through somewhat quickly. So here we have the figure inside of the box, and you can see almost all the accessories that he comes with, minus the hands. You really just see the effects parts there, and cool little design there. Looks like Jarvis. Very nice. And here he is on the back of the box with War Machine. Shows you all the hands that he comes with, and the shoulder and back flaps or air brakes. Shows you how the gimmicks attach to the figure. Very, very cool. Most of it is in Japanese, of course. There, if you can read Japanese, you can tell me what's probably some sort of safety warnings. Don't swallow it. Not for kids. Does have a lot of small parts, and of course more Japanese with the barcode. Yeah, great little box. Excellent for storage and transportation. Alright, let's get him out of the package and take a closer look at him. So here we have the figure out of the package, and first thing out of my mouth were expletives. I was just blown away by how awesome the paint job is on this figure. And I do own the Mark III version in Hot Toys and the Marvel Select version, which up until now was probably my favorite version of Iron Man. But this thing, I think, blows both of them away. So yeah, that was the first thing that I really noticed, was just how gorgeous the paint is. Now, I did notice a couple of very small scuffs right out of the package, or dings. The little armored hand pieces that he has that are removable, I noticed a very, very small ding in one of them. Actually, I think in both of them. Of course, now that I'm going to look for it, oh, there it is. So, come on, focus. So in the very corner of the armor piece, and it's probably not even going to show up on camera, but there is a tiny little scratch there. And I'm usually really careful taking these things out of the package, so I'm thinking maybe it just got nicked when they were putting it in the package, and I think I saw one on the other side, but maybe I'm hoping it's just on that piece. But man, this thing is just so amazing. It's like having a miniature Hot Toys. It is very similar to the Select, but the paint feels like it's got a, I don't know, it's like a stronger coating on it than even the Select, and the gold is probably a little bit brighter. And also these are silver, and on the Select they're more of a bronze. Then Now, I don't know if you can see that, but the chest piece has got detail in it. There is a little triangle within the triangle. There you go. And there's like a little circle piece around it. It's just so cool. I mean, it's like I got an actual plastic lens that covers it, and you can just see all the light is just, all of my lights here are just bouncing off this thing. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's by far the most beautiful figure I've held, and by far that I own. So I just wanted to show the paint off for the most part. I mean, I think that's probably the biggest selling point besides the amazing articulation. Yeah, I just absolutely love this thing. So there are quite a few differences between this one and the Hasbro version. The most notably is the flight pose. Like I showed in the War Machine, the ab crunch is amazing, and you can pop the head off pretty easily. Let's put that back on. But he does look up really well. But don't want to get into articulation quite yet. I just want to show off all the paint. Just give you a good look at the whole figure there. Just absolutely beautiful. Alright, so now let's get into the articulation. So like I said, you can look up pretty far. Not quite straight up. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. There we go. So with the ab crunch, I mean, he can look far back, really far back. And of course, like the War Machine, he also has die-cast feet, so you can really crank him back and not have to worry about him falling over too much. I mean, that's amazing. Totally amazing. Oh man, did I mention that you can see all that sculpt in between the armor pieces? That is just so badass. And I love how silver the areas that and how much the gold, just all the different colors and all the details, how realistic those abdomen armor pieces are. Just wow. If you love Iron Man, you have to have this figure. There's just no end of discussion. This thing is just so real. See, he does have double jointed elbows, which go really close in. I mean, look at that. That is spectacular articulation on that. Very, very cool. And like I said, the same technology we have here, where it's a ball peg on both sides. So this is a little bit more fragile figure, I feel, as far as the paint goes. So I'm not going to pop the arm out, but if you can see in there, you can see the technology where the shoulder joint is on its own ball, and then there's a ball peg within inside that, and so you can go very far back, very far forward, very far up, very far down. And then the armor piece is just like on the War Machine. It's got two little teeth, and you can pop these off pretty easily. You could pop the arms off, pop the head off, and as I just showed earlier, and you don't really feel like you're gonna break it, unlike a Hot Toys figure. And of course, it's got a ball hinge on the hand, And these little armor plates do come off so that you can attach them to each of the separate hands that he comes with. So you definitely don't want to lose this because it's the only one you have. You only get 2 of these for the entire figure. I would hope that if you do lose one, you could contact Figuarts and purchase another set, because that would really suck. I guess that would probably be one of my only complaints, is that you don't get a spare set of those, and there's no flight stand. Okay, so let's move on to the lower half of the figure, and we have this similar technology where he's got the ball peg and ball hinge. You got the hinge on the inside, and the peg goes right into the ball socket in the leg, which is, swivels independently. So even though he is short, if you wanted to half it from the back, you could get him. Oh, you know what? There's this. Oh no, good. Thank goodness that was just lint. I thought it was a scrape. You will notice any little scratch on this figure. The paint is extremely shiny and glossy, so you got to be careful when you're handling this guy. So there he is with the leg joints pulled all the way down. It's going to look really odd from the front, but maybe from the back, you can kind of half it. So even though he is a shorter figure, you can make him taller. And just for comparison, see, there he is with the A.C.B.A version. And look, they are magically now the same height. Of course, it's going to look more odd when you turn him around. But I think for some shots you can make it work. So let's get him out of here. We're not ready to do the comparison too much yet. Let's get into the lower half, the articulation. So just like on the just like on the War Machine, of course now he's gonna fight me. There we go. He can get his leg up, and the armor is going to hit. You just have to be careful not to do it too hard, and you can get him to do a 90-degree angle kick like that. Very cool, very cool. A.C.B.A figure cannot do that. I'll get those back up. Of course, they swivel on their own ball joint, and double jointed knees, which bend really well. Now the plastic inside is not painted, which is kind of nice. It's kind of a kind of like a cross between a gold, a yellow, and a khaki. So I don't think you can even notice that. It's just too deep in there, too dark. But I'm kind of glad that they didn't paint that, so that there's no chance that it's going to scrape or flake off into the knee area. I don't know if the knees, I don't think the knees are metal. I think just the feet are metal on him. Let me pan down just a tad. There we go. So the feet articulation, there is no ankle rocker at all. He does have toe articulation that bends, it bends down, but it doesn't really bend up. He can bend down really far. I don't know why you'd ever want to get him in that kind of pose. And this little piece on the back is not movable, part of the feet, which is good, because the last thing you need is something to bend or break off or lose. So yeah, let's see, good range of motion, back and forth, and pretty nice. It's pretty stiff. I think you'd have to really manipulate the figure a lot to get him loose, get his joints to be loose after a while. Alright, so let's get some of the accessories out and show what those look like on him. Before I proceed any further, I wanted to show that you can remove all these armor plates off of the back and top of the figure, so you can expose all these little like gears and mechanisms on the back piece. This little armor plate pops off to expose that, and these pieces here cover up his shoulders, and then this armor plate goes at the very top of his shoulder. And I don't know that I did this, but I did notice he's got a little chip on there. Of course, probably not going to show up. Yeah, you can see there's a little chip there in the corner. So you got to be really careful with this guy. I'm hoping it wasn't me, but and you kind of have to have some fingernails to get in there and prop those off. So if you have really big meaty fingers, or you have really thick fingernails, you might want to get some help with that. Don't know if I would really recommend a tool. Maybe one of those plastic toothpicks, the ones that look like little blades. That might help for getting under there to get those pieces off, because there's not a whole lot of gap between the figure and the accessory piece. So that's what he looks like naked without the pads on his shoulders. Alright, now let's go ahead and show what these other accessories look like. So like I said during my War Machine review, one of the only things that's making this figure be 100% perfect is that he does not come with a flight stand. Unfortunately, I don't own a lot of imports. I know that a lot of figures like Kamen Rider do come with clear flight stands, similar to the Mafex Spider-Man that I reviewed, made by Medicom. He did come with a really nice flight stand, and I definitely am going to invest in one, because these homemade flight stands are great. They're excellent for Marvel Legends, but this thing is super scratchable. I can't emphasize that enough, how delicate the paint is on it. You just have to be careful. You definitely don't want your kid playing with it, but this is what he looks like with the flight effects attached to the bottom. And I'm just going to zoom in so that you can get a better look at that. And you can see the little flaps that he comes with that you can swap out so that you can be exposing those. They're basically like the air brakes on his legs. So I really love these flame accessories, these effects parts that just pop on. They have pegs that just pop into the holes in his legs. And great detail there on the back of the legs with those small components exposed. And same on the back, we have those flaps that just pop on, and they are painted, so you just got to be careful when you're popping them on and off that the areas that it connects to, which do have paint on them, that you don't accidentally miss the figure and scratch the top. They are, kind of a harder plastic that's a little bit brittle, so if he falls, they might break, so definitely be careful. And also, if you drop them, they can bounce around and you know, end up in your air conditioning vent or something, and then you might not ever have it again. Okay, so I'm just gonna take him off of here and take a look at what he looks like from the front. Zoom out again. Get this out of the shot. So if you wanted to have him coming to a stop, basically that's the kind of effect you go for with these air brakes open. It's kind of cool. Definitely like it. And it's kind of good. Unlike the Hot Toys, it's their actual hinges that you can bend up, but I can see why they wouldn't want to do this, because they could definitely break pretty easily. So I'd rather have, you know, an accessory that I might use on occasion than something I have to worry about breaking. Alright, I'm going to take these off and let's show what the other accessories look like on him. So I know that my friend Randy, in his review, mentioned that one of his only complaints about the figure was the fact that the head had a hard time negotiating the armor pieces. It's a little bit more extreme on the War Machine. On this figure, it can actually be overcome pretty easily. You just have to know how to manipulate the joint. The head actually sits pretty high. You can actually pull the head pretty high up on the peg on the neck, and then you can get him, you know, you can have any kind of side to side tilt that you want. You know, that neck is on its own joint, and then you can actually turn the head. You just gotta, I would have him look up, turn over to make sure you clear the armor so you don't scratch it, and then you can have him turn completely. You can have him clear the whole shoulder with his head if you want. If you want to have him completely turned around, then you can do that as well. So it can be done. You just have to be careful and just know how to manipulate the joint. No disrespect to Randy. I know that he probably just wanted to hurry up and get his reviews uploaded. But yeah, I'm glad that that's not a major issue, because you know, you want to be able to have him turn to the side and fire his effects at people. And these things are very cool. It comes with 2 large ones and 2 small ones, and they just pop on to. You have to have the hands that are for the effects. They have little pegs on them, and I'll show those. Just pop off. Very cool effects pieces. They start off pretty much white and then go to like a pink and then orange and then a yellow at the tip, and same thing on this long skinny one. And they are kind of like a soft, I don't think they're rubber, I think they're actually silicone, which is nice. They'll actually last a lot longer, and they won't discolor quite as fast. There you go. Just get a nice shot of those. And these hands, like I said, they only come with one set of the armor plates for the back of the hands, so you want to be careful when you take those off that you don't toss them aside too far. And I would just do them one at a time. So the hand is just on a ball peg, very similar to like a Revoltech figure, and just pops on. These are very soft plastic material, which is really nice, so you don't have to worry about them snapping if you accidentally bend them back or drop them, or drop something on top of them, or if they fall off your shelf. Don't have to worry about them breaking, unlike the hands that come with a Marvel Select. Those are very stiff, hard, brittle plastic. So you just pop that off, and then he comes with a flat hand and then the fist, as I showed earlier, that was already on him out of the package. So there's the flat hand, and then once you get the hand changed out, you've got that little notch on the back, and there's a little tooth there on the armor piece, and that just pops right into the notch, and there you go. And then this thing's on its own joint, so it doesn't hinder, you know, if you want to do a blast effect pose. Oops. You know, the armor piece is not going to be in the way, unlike on most Iron Man figures. The armor doesn't cooperate very well. So there's the peg, the effect, and then we can just do the same thing on this side. Let's put his fist on this one. There you go, very easy. I'll set him down for a sec while I get this off. And you just need to be careful with the paint. Make sure your hands are clean. Yeah, it just pops right on the back there. So just be careful when you put it up against the back of his arm, that you do it gently so you don't scratch the paint. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some size comparisons with other similar scaled figures. So here we have the Figuarts Iron Man Mark VI in the middle. We have the movie Mark VI from Hasbro on the far left, and the Return of Marvel Legends Hasbro Extremis Iron Man on the far right. Now, to be honest, I thought that the Extremis was going to be just a tiny bit taller than this guy, but it is noticeable. Obviously the movie Mark VI from Hasbro is the tallest of the three, but now you can, like I said before, pop up his legs. Oops, that's a little too much. This one's probably a little loose on the ball there. You can do some manipulation, and voila, they are the same height. So yeah, it's not the best looking, but I think it still works really well. And you know, especially if you're gonna do a shot where you have him next to other Marvel Legends and you're just doing it for like from the waist up, you don't have to necessarily prop him up on anything. You can get it to work, and it is noticeable, but and you know, actually I don't even have him up all the way, but still pretty damn good. Alright, so let's get into some more comparisons, and then we'll go over him compared to his Hasbro compatriot on the on his right side there. Here he is next to the Marvel Select Iron Man Mark VI from Diamond, and even though this Diamond Select or Marvel Select figure is great, I still think the Figuarts one is better. Even the paint, I think this paint is let's see, how do I want to explain it? This one looks more like metal, this one looks more like plastic covered in paint. The paint looks really thick and kind of gummy and sticky, and then obviously this one has got a plastic, very realistic looking arc reactor, and this one is just a if it's a sticker or just paint, I think it's just paint. But still a cool figure. You know, it's got the removable mask that you can pop on top of his head, and you can see Tony under there. If I can get it off quickly. It's not going to cooperate, but he's got those pegs on the top of his head to attach the mask, and it's got the flip up airfoils like on this guy, while this one is not. They're just removable. So it might have been nice to just have these joints, but you know, after a while they just don't, you know, they're just going to wear out and not going to be able to get them to stay up without fixing them up with some glue. And of course, you know, the articulation is not going to be that good on a Marvel Select. They just, you're buying it for the paint and the sculpt and not for the articulation. Alright, let's move on to another figure. Since most of my subscribers probably know me from the Marvel Legends community, I thought it'd be a good idea to put some common sized Marvel Legends next to the figure for comparison. So we've got the Shield Agent on the left and the Bullseye on the right, and as many of us know, a lot of Marvel Legends, both from Toy Biz and Hasbro, are based on the Bullseye body and also the Shield Agent body. So that gives you a good idea of how he's going to look, and I think he represents really well. And for one final comparison, we have the Mark 6 from Hasbro, and let's get out our ruler so you can see exactly what we're talking about as far as height difference. The Hasbro version is, let's see, just about 6 inches, just over 6 inches. And our friend from Figuarts is just shy of 6 inches. So, I would say not quite half an inch shorter. But like I said, if you want to manipulate those leg joints, you can make them the same height. Now, one of the biggest differences besides the paint and the articulation is, yeah, well, the articulation is pretty huge. You know, that's not bad for him for looking up, but it's not a great flight pose. You know, he's not really looking forward, he's more looking down, and in comparison, this guy can really look up and forward. So much better options for flight pose. Alright. Now lastly, if you wanted to put your Tony Stark head on this figure, you can make it work. The ball peg for my figure is inside the head, which I'm not going to try to pop it out. I do have a spare ball peg from another figure I could put on there, but it's not worth it for me. I can probably just use some sticky tack or something, because this, you know, it's just on there really, you know, it's not going to stay on there unless you really mash him on. Yeah, it works really well. You know, this Tony head is a little bit small in the first place, so I think it works great. Here we have the two figures side by side for comparison, and as you can see, Tony is significantly shorter than Rhodey here. Don't know how much shorter War Machine or Iron Man is to War Machine in the comics, but for scale, here we go. You can see he Iron Man is just under 6 inches, which I think he's supposed to be 155 millimeters, which equates to 5.9, I believe, 5.9 inches. So I think that's pretty accurate. And the War Machine is supposed to be 6.1 inches, which that looks accurate as well. And finally we have Tony and Rhodey fighting side by side, both firing their weapons at full blast. And all I can say is these are must-have figures. Amazing. The articulation, the paint, the accessories, everything about them. The only complaint is that they don't come with a flight stand, but that's pretty small, and you can pick up third market flight stands for not that much. Alright, hopefully you guys liked the review, and please hit like, share with your friends. I would love to hear back from you, so leave a comment below, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.